Hey y'all, we're going to talk a little bit about playing drums on the guitar. So this is kind of an extracurricular thing. If it's not your thing, that's fine, but I did have a number of students ask, so I wanted to address it. And there are rhythmic aspects that you can apply to rhythm guitar that will be profitable from this as well. So when I play drums on guitar, what I mean is something like this. So you'll get a little more responsiveness, of course, if you're playing through an acoustic electric instrument through an amp, where you get some more of the low end and some more of the frequencies, but you can hear acoustically it works pretty well too. And this is a technique that I use when I play live, when I loop, where I play the rhythm guitar, the lead, the drums, the bass, percussion, all that stuff is done on a guitar. And likewise, on many of the CDs that I've recorded, all of the percussion, all of the drums has been done on guitar, and it sounded good enough to the point that nobody knows it's a guitar unless you tell them. So I'm going to post a clip, whether it be audio or video here, so you can see some of what's going on or hear some of what's going on. So you're going to listen to the drums in the song that you're going to be hearing and know that everything that's being done is done on the guitar with the techniques I'm about to show you. Okay, so let's talk about the techniques to get the sound. So for our bass drum, we're going to kind of do a slap technique. If you're used to slapping a bass or anything like that, this won't be too foreign. Now the best way that I can put this, and it's not the prettiest or most eloquent way, but it's almost like you're trying to get something gross off your hand that's stuck there, okay? So you're kind of doing a slap where your wrist kind of goes limp. So you're moving the arm and letting the wrist smack the guitar. So what I'm doing, I'm hitting the bridge here kind of with the meaty part of my hand. So you're getting some percussive sound from the body of the guitar, but also my thumb is coming across the strings in this direction, so you're getting some percussiveness from the strings, like so. Okay, so practice that, find the sweet spot where it sounds the best, and don't be tearing your hands up. Now the other thing we're going to do is we're going to mute the strings with the left hand. That means we're not pushing all the way down, otherwise it would sound something like that. We don't want that, we just want this. So we're just laying our fingers across the strings but not pressing down so that they're muted. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to play a simple drum beat like so. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay? So practice that, get used to that, and then we'll add some accents. Okay, so now here is where rhythmically this ties into our strumming. So if you'll remember, we talked about eighth notes for strumming. So for example, here's a pattern we're all familiar with. I'm going to use an A minor chord, but it's immaterial. So. Okay, so what you notice, I'm not hitting every note, but again, I'm playing every stroke with the arm. I'm just sometimes pulling away. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The same is going to apply to our percussion. So I'm going to mute the strings again. What we're going to do is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if you'll notice, 3 dynamically was louder because you got to think about this in terms of drums. If you're familiar with a drum kit, you have bass, and we'll say hi-hat, that little cymbal that you hit in between beats, and then also your snare drum, okay? So what's happening, this is like your bass drum. These soft mutes are like your hi-hats, and then your loud mute is like your snare drum. For example, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So dynamics play a big part in this, and this isn't something you're going to grasp just like that. You're going to have to practice a little while, but once you get it, you got it, just like the strumming technique. Okay. Now, speaking of that, you can actually sometimes incorporate this with strumming like so. I'm going to go back to that A minor chord. Now I'm going to be fretting the chord, but I'm going to play. So now it sounds like we've got drums and rhythm guitar going at the same time. Now there is one caveat to this. We're not muting with this hand because it's playing the chord, so what's happening, if you want to give this a try, bass is the same. Now what's happening when I mute, I'm hitting the strings like I'm strumming, but I'm rolling my hand so quickly that my palm is immediately muting as I hit the strings. So Okay, so that's something just to work on. This one, the muting with the right hand, will probably take a little more time than all the rest. But feel free to practice this, have fun with this. Again, a metronome is always a good thing to practice with, especially for this. And then you can just have some fun with it. So let's think about 4/4 pattern, basic 4/4 words. Then you can start adding some bass beats like this. And the reason that I can do that seamlessly, one, is because I've been doing it forever. So remember that, give yourself time, be patient with yourself. But also, that's totally dependent upon doing it in eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and they're all falling on those eighth note patterns. If you don't do that right, you're probably going to stumble over yourself the whole time, and you won't be able to rhythmically come back in the same place every measure. Okay? Okay, so we just covered 4/4. Now let's look at some stuff in 3 and 6. So if we're doing 3/4, it would be kind of a waltz feel, and it's going to be bass on 1, snare on 3. And we're going to count in 3, so it's going to be like this. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 1, and 2, and 3. So that's probably less common than anything we're going to be doing, but I wanted to show you. Now, if we're going to be doing something more like 6/8, it's going to be like this. And remember, sticking with the eighth notes. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and then you can start adding some different bass notes and things like that. But the same principle still remains. It's always eighth notes, and then all you have to do is insert whether you want a bass beat, whether you want a snare beat louder, or you want to dynamically play softer to get kind of a hi-hat or a ride type feel in it. So y'all have fun with this. If you have any questions, just let me know.